Welcome to our Craft and Code webinar with Makey Makey. I am your host. I'm sorry, I felt like doing that like a radio show. I'm your host, Colleen Graves. And this is Derek Grunberg, and we're welcoming you all from around the world. We have some people from Ohio. We have some people, two people from Ohio, New Jersey. Yes, those of you in the audience, we cannot see or hear you because it's a webinar. But please do say hello in chat. And if you have questions, the chat's a great place to do it. You can also use the Q&A and we'll force them out while we're talking. But we're here to tell you a little bit about our new booster kit. Oh, grab it. Craft and Code. So I'm really excited about this because ever since I've been on the Makey Makey team, I've been talking about trying to get new boosters. And now we have Derek here, who's in the lovely, sunny, mostly rainy Portland, Oregon area. I think it's funny.
It's sunny at the moment, yes.
It's sunny today, or it was rainy yesterday. And he is our new product manager. So Derek, will you say hello and tell us a little about you?
Hi, everybody. I've been with the company for, let's see here, three months so far. I have an educator background, so I used to teach middle school shop and technology here in Oregon. I used to coach football, but I've also worked in industry and in ed tech for the past almost 10 years now. So now joining the Joy Labs as director of product and programs. So I'll oversee product management and product development, as well as some of our different programs, so that you'll see coming out in the next few months or so.
Awesome. And everybody, if you haven't met me, I'm Colleen, and I have been on the team for a while, but I make our content. I kind of organize our community and promote you, and kind of a jack of all trades, doing a lot of stuff. So we have some people here from Ireland. I was like, it must be late in Ireland. It's 10 p.m. there. So thanks for joining us so late at your bedtime, Mike and Robert, who is in Germany. And it's really nice to have people from all over the world. We always love that when that happens for us. So we're here to talk about crafting and coding. And Derek, I wanted us to really start with and I know you really wanted to start with talking about the 10,000-foot view of the booster kit. So we've released 2 booster kits. It's been maybe 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Just about 2 weeks. And we wanted to talk, that's your slide.
All right.
Wanted to talk about the 10,000-foot view, like where we're going, what you're thinking, and kind of just to touch on that for us.
Yeah, so the booster kit is nothing new to Makey Makey. We had the original one came out, Colleen, what, a year and a half ago? It's been out for a while.
The original booster kit has been out for like 4 years, probably.
Sorry, 4 years. And this came about, the idea of the booster kits are essentially, we want to give you some place to get started. And so it's the booster kits, and it is going to be kits. We have 2 out already. This one that we're going to talk about today, Craft and Code, and then Get Up and Go, is a mix of affordability and usability. And so we want to give you starting points around themes. So this one being Craft and Code. That's a mix of crafting materials, and then the kind of the hard to find, hard to source electronic components for the classroom. And so that's going to be the theme, and we'll be releasing new booster kits as time goes on. So it's going to be a regular building thing around different topics. And so that's just the idea behind booster kits. We'll be releasing both the hardware in terms of the kits, but also apps. And we'll talk a little bit more about apps, and Colleen's going to do some demos and share around those, but also detailed instructions for how to build projects. So those 3 components kind of make up the booster kit. And that's what we're talking about today. I
think you also had a really good point. Sorry, Claire's trying to get in and I'm trying to help her real quick.
Oh, you're fine.
So double tasking. Claire's usually here running technical support. She's trying to come in, and she was there. She is. Look, woohoo! All right, perfect timing. I really liked we talked probably like right when you came on the team about how you're really seeing the booster kits as supporting the Makey Makey experience. So really moving people from just plugging in and playing bananas to moving them to these like more complicated scenarios that it doesn't feel so difficult when you have all these pieces and parts that come with the kit and projects guided specifically for you, because we've always, kind of wanted teachers to be able to jump in with both feet, but we wanted to let them figure it out on their own. And so there are a lot of teachers who want a little more hand holding. And so I feel like our booster kits are a really good way to jump in with both feet, but also feel fully supported in this progress of like learning how to be an inventor.
Yeah, they should feel like water wings for specific topics. I wear water wings to learn how to swim, but at some point I got to graduate and go build things on my own. But when we first pick up a Makey Makey and we learn the power of Makey Makey, sometimes we get a little bit of mental gridlock of like, now what can I do? Like, I've now learned this and my mind's been blown. What do I do now? And how can I do different things? And so these narrow your focus a little bit in hopes that then it expands the concepts and gives you application points and directions to go. So
yeah, and actually I'm just going to click on that to take us to the page just for a second, but that's okay. You go ahead and go to the next slide, Derek. Now that's the only problem is now I can't try the slides. So Claire is here if you need anything. She's there, and you can make sure you, as we said, change your chat settings to panelists and attendees so that everybody gets to hear. But it's been really fun working on the new projects. Some of them are updated projects, like this wonderful guitar. When I first started the Makey Makey team, I made a cardboard guitar with Amazon tape was my earth. And I also used Soundtrap. But now with Chromebooks, the way they are, you really need a good plug and play app. So the project for the plug and play guitar is live on our page. It's not, we're actually going to add a little more on our booster kit guides. But one thing that's really fun about this is that it's using all the supplies that you're getting from the Craft and Code of these brass fasteners, which to me are like the most amazing thing ever. Derek, you were going to show us
so we've been talking about this kit. Let's look at what's in it. So I got to do some camera fiddling. So here,
I'll share the slides next. Make our life easy.
I'm going to do the complicated share.
You did too? All right.
I'm going to do it. Share. What did I do? Stop sharing.
You made my day.
Fine. I'm gonna just do this.
So I was watching like a live TikTok video last night, and this person in the middle of her live TikTok had to mute her microphone and yell at her daughter. And it was like the funniest. I know it's not funny, but if you're a mom and you've been working from home, like it cracked me up. Because how many times have I had to mute and be like, I just told you to go. And she made that same face. It was hilarious.
Colleen, know, not everybody's seen my shop, and you'll probably, if in the future, a lot more people will, but a lot of times I have to mute mine because I have either chickens crowing or giant farm machinery going past or other things that make noise driving past my shop. But so totally
you yell out your window, quiet chickens.
Yeah, throw a rock at them, I guess. So let's take a look at what's in the Craft and Code kit here. Unbagging.
Oh, it's an unbagging.
Whole bunch of stuff.
Ooh.
So we have in here conductive fabric tape.
La la.
Yeah. And this is great. So a lot of you may have used copper tape before, but this conductive fabric tape is great because its adhesive is conductive, so you can actually connect multiple pieces of the tape, but more importantly, it doesn't have sharp edges. I'm not going to cut my fingers on them if you've used copper tape in the classroom before, you know that that is something that is, it's a thing, right? It's basically razor blade tape. So conductive fabric tape. We give you a collection.
I actually think it's also more sturdy than the copper tape because it doesn't tear. You have to cut it.
Collection of pokey things, which is brass fasteners as well as push pins. And these push pins are metal, so they are conductive. I can stick them into something like foam core or cardboard and use them as conductors. And then brass fasteners, and you'll see, you can actually see them at, behind Colleen on the guitar that we use as kind of touch points. So those are the brass fasteners. So we give you 10 of each of those in a nice safe container. Ow. Move those over here. We give you some binder clips, perfect for making switches. Some basic switches, as well as holding things in place. So there's all kinds of different uses and some different tutorials and projects that you can build on our website using binder clips. We give you a few. We know that most teachers have them around, but we give you some extra ones so that they don't all just disappear from your desk. We actually include a bunch of aluminum foil. This is super useful, obviously, for working with Makey Makey. Big, nice, conductive surface. Can be cut easily, torn easily, all that fun stuff. Conductive thread. So this is, if you've never heard of conductive thread before, I'm going to take it out of a little baggie. This is sewing thread that actually is stainless steel. So it is conductive. It will act like just like a wire. One of the, actually, it's interesting, Colleen, I don't know if you've done this before, but if you're wearing gloves.
Oh, right.
And a lot of people don't have the fancy gloves for being able to use their cell phone. So you can actually sew a couple of spots of conductive thread into the tip of your gloves and then use your cell phone with it, because it'll basically make your fingertip of your glove conductive at that point. So super helpful with Makey Makey projects, and Colleen's going to highlight one that's going to be coming out soon that uses conductive thread. And then Makey Makey pencils. So we
They're my favorite.
Two 6B pencils, Makey Makey. These ones are pre-sharpened, but we also put in the kit a pencil sharpener.
And really, like, this is, I know it didn't come out during COVID, but if you get stuck at home, we really wanted everyone to have everything they needed to be able to do these projects that, that I've been working on that are up on our site. And so, Derek, I want to just talk about why 6B is important, because sometimes teachers use regular 2B pencils and they get really frustrated. And so what's great about these, and I have always thought 6B pencils, you can get artist pencils, but we love these because they say makeymakey.com on them. Where is it? There they are. And Derek, can I tell them that we're going to sell these? Look, I asked.
You just did.
Did it while I did it. I know you're gonna be able to buy just the pencils, because I know you've been wanting to do it for some time, because that's what I wanted to do when I was a teacher. But the great thing is that the graphite goes on so thick that you really don't have any problems. Like when you do a 2B pencil, I think a lot of teachers get frustrated because it doesn't lay as much graphite down, doesn't put as much. It's not lead. Pencil lead is not lead, but it doesn't put as much graphite down on the paper. And so when you use a 6B pencil, it really helps you get those dark and neat lines so that it has a lot of conductivity. But why, Derek, why does that make it more conductive?
There's more graphite in it, so it's softer.
Softer.
Also, cool tip about using the 6B pencils. A lot of our teachers know this already, but if your students are using 6B pencils with Makey Makey, and we're obviously going to be touching the graphite, and that graphite comes off on our hands. One of the ways to keep that from, or minimizing it, I should, is using hairspray or spray fix over the top of it.
It's still conductive with the hairspray on top?
it'll still be conductive. It just won't smear as much. So that's a
Interesting.
good way to do wonderful Makey Makey conductive pencil art, but not have them lessen the mess that comes with it sometimes.
That's fun. And I wanted to make sure that everyone hears the random story about how pencil lead numbers came to be, because I think it's amazing. It was Henry David Thoreau who was, as a young person, he was not an adult yet. He was helping his dad who owned a pencil factory, and they were trying to make their pencil, they're trying to sell more pencils. And he actually came up with mixing the graphite and clay into getting different hardnesses of pencils. So I just think that's fascinating. So sorry, Derek. What is in the kit besides tape and conductive thread? Oh, a nice metal
ball bearing. So
yeah,
a ball bearing. So it's obviously conductive. It's solid steel. And we can use this for a number of different projects. The one that we highlight with this kit is a DIY tilt joystick. Colleen's holding it up right now.
Trying to. It's kind of hard to show.
Controller. Huh?
It's hard to show because the marble's trying to come out. Yeah, and I love these little metal marbles. You can wrap a marble with foil, but it's just not as smooth and it doesn't give you as good of a connection. And I just love these little metal. I mean, it's not a metal. I guess it's a metal marble and it's a ball bearing, but they're super fun.
Yes. So that's that. Again, the tilt joystick, but also different tilt sensors. So that's kind of 3 dimensions or 2 dimensions, or 3 axes, I should say.
Yeah.
And then you can do a single axis, which is just a toilet paper roll with conductors at each end. I don't know, Colin, if you've got one sitting around, but that's
I have one sitting beneath me, but I'm having total issues right now. I was trying to get the one last thing you hadn't talked about and say, what is this, without saying what it was, and I can't get it. I can't find it. My conductive fabric. That's what I was going to show, but you have the LEDs.
Oh, I have conductive fabric. It just didn't come out when I dumped it out. So there we go.
Well, so I was thinking, because Jill says she's done some sewable circuit projects. I know you and I talked about making like a little squishy pillow with the conductive fabric. And I wanted everyone to, I'll actually look up the link, but we had when we did our occupational therapy work, we had a teacher use that to help a student who kind of had an aversion to touching the computer. So they made a little sewable squishy pillow to hold on to.
I have that same aversion sometimes.
You do?
Computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this conductive fabric, as you can see, it's pretty, it's essentially ripstop, which is the same material that, camping tents and sleeping bags and things like that are made out of. So it's actually pretty durable. And then we were thinking too about, I was playing some yard games over the weekend, and what if I was to make a beanbag that one side was conductive material, and then use the graphite pencil and draw different areas that I could connect if I threw the beanbag and it landed appropriately on that drawn area. So there's all sorts of creative ways to use this piece of fabric. And then you'll start seeing projects that use it coming out soon. But this especially is something that tends to be hard to find. And so we wanted to make sure to include it in the kit so that people had access to it. Yeah, combining 2 of these into a conductive beanbag, I think, would be pretty sweet.
That sounds fun.
And then something that you don't think about right away with Makey Makey, but we do in terms of introducing the idea of a circuit, is including some LEDs and a coin cell battery, so that when we introduce the idea of a circuit, we can do it really quickly just by making a quick throwy. This is called a throwy, building a circuit with a battery and an LED. But we can also hook up these LEDs to a Makey Makey into the back. So Colleen, if you hold up your Makey Makey, if you flip it over to the back, there are 2 output pins. There's key out and then a mouse out, and we can connect that and ground with an LED. And then the LED will light up when we press or complete the circuits on the front of the Makey Makey. But we give you a battery and some LEDs to start playing around with. And combine this with the conductive fabric tape to make some paper circuits, some things like that, just to get you started with circuits before jumping into Makey Makey.
And I put in the Hello Light activity in the chat. Derek, I think that it's important because we didn't really talk about how Makey Makey works in case anyone's new to Makey Makey that's here. But, one reason we do that LED is that when you use Makey Makey, you have to have an earth input and a positive key press input. And so teachers sometimes ask how they can tell their younger students how they can explain this. And so I feel like the LED is supposed to help us, but why does there have to be an earth with the positive input?
Because you're completing a circuit. So the current of electricity has to flow essentially from a source through a load, which is a Makey Makey, or not a Makey Makey, but an LED at this point, and then to ground. And that's completing the circuit or the circle. So for a battery, the shiny side of the battery is plus, and then the bottom, the grid part, is ground or earth. And so the current flows through this leg, the long leg of the LED, lighting up the LED, and then back down to earth. And if Colleen holds up the Makey Makey, it's the same thing as if Colleen held onto earth and then connected, let's say, the space bar.
So the LED, right now, the LED is lit up, right? And the computer is making the sound behind me, but I cannot complete a circuit if I don't have the full loop. So right now my body is the loop. I'm trying to make myself into a loop. I'm a loop, right? So that's the way I always try to explain it. I hope that helps everybody understand why it has to be that. And in more complicated terms, it's called resistive sensing, which Derek would be better to talk about than me. But that is why we included LEDs in the kit, because we know that you're using LEDs and teaching those concepts too. But we also want to make sure we tie that back to how a Makey Makey actually works.
And that's everything that's in the kit. A lot of materials that, like I said, are probably in your desk drawer, but a lot of them that are also hard to find. So combining those into something that you can hand your students without having to divvy out or kit out yourself. And, reality of still doing school at home or remote learning is a reality. So something that can easily be sent home with students, or even for your kids at home. So it doesn't just have to be a school activity, but also can be a bunch of activities for at-home learning on their own.
Right. And when you go to our resource page and kit project guides, and you're in either of the booster kit project guides, you'll find this Hello Light activity, which now it wants to and now I have to go all the way through it because it got mad at me. So I'm going to go to crafting code. And inside, I've got all these ideas of things I can do. And there's all those materials that I have. And if I haven't used Makey Makey before, I can click on Get Started. And I have this Hello Light activity in here, which also you've probably seen in other places on our webpage. But I love this project guide because it has the LED throwy. It has a paper circuit you can use. It's using all the materials that you've got in your resource kit, the conductive fabric tape and the LED and the battery. And then we also give you some more ideas for how to use Makey Makey and LEDs. I think if we you have to scroll way down, so I apologize, but I do have extra projects on the bottom, and it gives us all the science stuff that Derek and I just talked about. And you can,
right there.
What? You want that?
There you go. There's
so there's Makey Makey showing it, and I made this scratch project, the virtual Makey Makey too, showing here's the key out and the ground. And again, it's the same thing. The person whose hands are touching both of those Play-Dohs is now completing that loop, right? And so that's how electricity works, which is just, amazing. So if we look at our project guides, I'll let you see once we share this at the end. You'll be able to click on all those and go to the projects, but you can draw your circuits with your wonderful Makey Makey optimized pencil. And this guide is a little different than our normal drawing challenge because it does explains even the stuff I said about Henry David Thoreau. But it also gives you tips on how to make those drawings better, how to make them more conductive. And there's that little hello. Derek thought it would be fun if you could see my photographic art, the actors from the stage, right? But I love this drawing pencil project, and we used it with the piano app, right? So I'm going to do that in real life instead of, now I'll do wait, I can't do the second camera because I only have one camera. But that's okay. I'm actually going to turn the share off because are you going to be able to hear? I have to share. I have to start I have to do this old school. Let me turn my headphones off. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because sometimes things don't work. Right. So again, Makey Makey works with the holding earth and completing the loop. And this is our new piano app, and I'm going to pull that up on our page too. But if you have a drawing, oh no, I don't have enough alligator clips next to me. That's why I have them hanging by a magnet up there, so I don't have to worry about it. But I want to have change my sounds. So I'm going to go into control panel, and I'm going to change to an electric guitar. No, I'm not. I want a pizzicato. That's a funny sound. I think I'm changing my mind. Hello? Ooh.
Go for the guitar, Colleen. You've got a guitar. Do the guitar.
Oh, okay. I'll do the guitar. It doesn't sound this one. I'm going to go back to pizzicato. I like it.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to make this bass. Ooh, I went too low. You can't hear it.
Ooh.
Yeah, there we go.
Jaws.
All right. So I'm putting this to space. And I'm going to just do this the lazy way again. I'm holding earth. And I touch hello to play my bass note. Right? So that's one of the projects is drawing, and you're going to come up and change with your piano, but you can also use our new sampler app. So I'll pull that up on my computer instead of showing it from here because it will be too complicated. But I can plug in my Makey Makey guitar. And since I've already got it plugged all the way in with these are from the Get Up and Go kit. And I know I totally threw it. And I shouldn't have thrown it. Too far. Now I got to change my guitar.
While Colleen's doing that, I'm adding links to both the new piano app and the sampler app if you want to play along with us and try them out if you haven't used them before.
Oh, you're so cranky, Makey Makey. Oh, right. I got to change the notes. It's going to take me a long time, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it in a second because now it's going to take too long.
Okay.
So let's look at this crazy tiltable guy that I threw. I have too many things, you guys. This is what always happens with Makey Makey. I'm hitting the earth key. All right. Let me show you this tilting sensor instead. All right. I've got my marble. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Take this off. And I needed a gray for ground. And when I build this project, what I did is I put foil on the bottom and I just stuck the thumbtack through. So I think what happens that I think is fun about the booster kits is you have to like play with the materials and think about how you can use them. And you can combine your conductive materials to make it more efficient. So earth is this thumbtack I'm going to plug in right here, but it's going to be earth all throughout that foil because that thumbtack's touching that foil. And so now, if I hold the ball here, and then I need to put each arrow key, so we'll go up. Oh no, I'm already playing it. You guys, it's always hard when you do it live. So I was only going to do one live and then the guitar messed me up.
It's okay.
All All right, so I'm playing my one note. When it rolls, it plays the bass note, but then I'm gonna add more notes here. But what's gonna be fun is we can also show the Etch-a-Sketch app. But this is really fun because now I've made a 4-way tilt sensor. And I'm just gonna use each of my arrow keys for each one. And what else is cool is you can use the back of the board to plug in your mouse control. And I want to show the Etch-a-Sketch, but I want to show all those like on my computer instead. So I'm going to do that a little bit.
So I shared links with everybody for
Great.
all 3, including the Make-a-Sketch app, Colleen. So
Great.
people are already playing and
Awesome. I'm going to share my screen and use the app and hold the guitar so that, yeah, that'll work. So I'm going to do this. And I'm going to show you how you can adjust that piano app just so that we can really see it. So I'm kind of skipping ahead from one project to the next project, but also showing the, sorry, Derek, I'm going to go from your link.
apps.makey makey.
I know I was going to, but okay. I thought we weren't sharing that one.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Because that was going to make it easier. Actually, what am I doing? I can do it from here.
Yeah.
Okay, I lied. Piano. It's easier to do that. Okay, so now I'm in the piano app. I click Control Panel, and I can change.
We lost you.
You lost it because I pulled it out. I didn't mean to. Wait for it. She's back.
There we go.
All right, so I actually made the guitar to go with the project from our pamphlet, which is ASDFG. So this is just interesting for those of you who aren't ready to use Scratch. You can now label each key. So the left arrow is now going to be A, and the up arrow, so it's kind of like remapping a Makey Makey, except I don't have to remap the actual Makey Makey. I'm remapping my program. I'm going to change this one to D, and I can only do keys that I have. Whereas, you know, I love Scratch, but kids will just program it to be whatever they want it to be. And now I can play my piano, my guitar. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, you know, one of the reasons for us producing a number of these apps is that just the nature of the classroom these days, sometimes we don't have enough time, or the time hasn't been planned into getting kids immersed in Scratch and programming.
Right.
And so having something that's plug and play allows them to invent with Makey Makey, but keep the computer interface side of things, or the programming side of things, a little lighter on that. And so it just gives you an option as an educator and a teacher. If you don't want to jump into programming, or you don't have enough time to, you can use the apps. If you have Hour of Code that's coming up or something like that, then that's a great time to incorporate programming in Scratch. But we just wanted to give both the equal value on this.
Well, and what's great is, hang on. There we go. So now I changed it to ASDFG. You can hear it, right? It's really quiet.
We can't hear it.
You can't?
I can't, no.
Well, that made me sad. Let me make sure. You should. Hang on. You hear that?
Nope.
What?
It's okay. We can see the keys being pressed, though.
But that's you should hear it. I'm going to try one more time. Oh, I clicked share sound, but I didn't share the sound. All right, ready?
There we go.
Right. So what I think is amazing is that now you can spend your time creating physical devices, so the kids can really make the hardware to go with the software. And then if you have the time, or you have the club, or you have, you know, extra time where you can teach computer science, you can show how to recreate this in Scratch, which I think is super cool. So you can now have kids focus on building this physical musical instrument however they want to build it. It doesn't have to be like the classical guitar design. They can make their musical instrument look like this, right? So I think that's really, really what's fun about these new apps. So that is the piano, but we also want to see the make a sketch, right? I'm going to draw with the well, I'm not going to
with
draw
the
with
guitar.
this.
Yes, draw with the guitar.
I don't have to change all the arrow keys.
Oh, okay. I guess
So I won't draw with the guitar, but I'll draw with the tilt sensor. I don't mind doing that. All right. Derek, can you move me to the tilt to make a sketch? Just kidding.
There you go. Oh, do make a sketch, not etch a sketch.
I think it was just saved from before.
I know. It's okay. Computers. What can you do without them? Yeah, there you go.
She does not like it. There she goes. All right. So now I can use my arrow keys and I can draw. I can use W and change it, or I can plug in my tilt-a-whirl. Y'all remember the tilt-a-whirl at the carnival? Derek?
I remember tilt-a-whirl. I actually just rode one this summer and I just about threw up after.
I was gonna say, did you get sick? Do
Yeah,
they still make them?
I ate 2 corn dogs before getting on.
Gross. All right, so I think I'm drawing on it. Here we go. Drawing. I'm gonna make a ladder. I'm sorry, you can't see me. But what's cool about this too, and especially when we started working with occupational therapists and physical therapists, like this can be a way for a student or a client to like work on their pronation supination, right? So they have to like hold the cup and draw, and they have to draw a certain thing by turning. So it's kind of just a really fun way to do that. Plus, the amazing, well, in the next booster kit project is the hula hoop controller, but I really love the hula hoop controller. Were we going to show a third app?
What do the slides say? That we're not using whatsoever.
Oh yeah, no, we're using the slides. Don't be that way.
Okay.
Here you go.
Oh, we were going to do the either buzz in or scoreboard.
Oh,
Looks
right.
like it was, yeah, the scoreboard.
I can't find present because I'm like here live. It's one of those things where I just can't do it. So, woo, I'm changing it. Sorry, let me go back. Oh, it's too much. It's changing it back on me. It was rolling back and forth and like just going over and over. So in the drawing guide, you can use the piano, and then you could change it if you want to hop over to the sampler and record your own samples, and maybe talk about the different parts of a robot. The tilt sensor is really fun for learning how to make the piano, but then you can take it and go try to control a game. And the piano app, oh, I love that I can change the amount of keys. I can change the scale. You can actually make it a minor so that the flats work, and you can change the instrument sounds, which is really fun. And I was going to do a little sampler show. So I do think I should show the sampler again, just because if people haven't seen it, I think it's amazing. If you're into music and GarageBand and Ableton, then this is the baby step before those things. But some people maybe haven't seen those, so they don't know what a music pad looks like. So when you want to live out your DJ days, this is what you do. And I actually did build a device for this, Derek, but a long time ago.
And the sampler is even terrifying to me. I'm the least musical person on the
face. It terrifies you?
And I'm like, I don't know how to use, I don't know how to make music with the sampler app.
Look, I made one.
I made my own
sampler with Makey Makey. Blech. Oh, it's hard to open. That's a mess in there. Shouldn't have shown you beneath the skirt. Yeah, but the sampler app is really cool because if you're a teacher and you want your students to be able to like do a life cycle project, now they could draw the life cycle and they could hook up, down, left, right, and just record their own voice to speak. So it's kind of like a flip grid for physical computing. How's that? That's a good idea. That's
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool, but I think you're right. It might be overwhelming for some. And then the amazing Make a Sketch. My daughter did this drawing. I have to tell you that. She said we have to say it every time, and we have to pay her a fee of $5 every mention. Did you know that, Derek?
Really? No.
We have to start
We're
giving her
paying her?
royalties. Yeah, we have to give her royalties for this app,
I think
this drawing.
technically that the child labor laws, but
Scoreboard app is the last app we were going to
yes.
show because a lot of people have students make physical games like Kane's Arcade style games with cardboard, and this is the like perfect app for that. And I actually did do this with my Steady Hand Maze game. That was the other project we were going to share that's coming out later. But I think I put the image on the slide, right? So I don't have to.
Yeah.
There you go. Steady Hand Maze game. So the idea is like the wire game where you have to go, earth is the wire that goes across, and you have to try and not touch the wire while you're playing. So it's kind of like that, but the conductive thread is strung like lasers all through your cardboard frame, and then your earth wand has to try to make it through all the lasers to the scoreboard behind. So you can actually plug right in and score. So you could make skee ball, Makey Makey skee ball. I'm thinking, what were we talking? We were talking about doing Plinko. We could use those thumbtacks and make Makey Makey Plinko. Was there another one we could do?
The alternative name to this game is "Has Derek had too much coffee today?" game.
Is that what you're gonna do?
That's the alternative to name to this. But yeah, there. We were talking about they're taking some of those carnival-like games. You said skee ball, so that was my go-to one. But also like any beanbag toss type game or
pinball.
Yeah, pinball.
Yeah, pinball, and you have the marble.
Yeah.
In the middle marble, you can make it. I also wanted to show how some of these projects go well with. I mean, some of the kit components go well with things that already exist. So, like the pixel art finger paint just uses these brass fasteners to plug into, and then you can learn to code your coordinate planes in Scratch. So you have a nice math game going on there, and the wonderful interactive poster. So this is why I wanted to show the sampler again, because this is the idea of like using the sampler in a classroom. I can record myself reading Amanda Gorman's poem, and I can record myself reading Langston Hughes. And then when other people come up and hold Earth right here, and they touch each brass fastener, the computer's going to read those poems for me. And so I just think that's a really cool way to use Makey Makey in any classroom, covering any curriculum. And there's that beautiful cardboard guitar. So do we want to go into the sampler more, or I think it's time for questions?
And feel free to type the questions into the chat, and then I can talk about them or answer them.
Jane asked a good question. We have to show that. Jane asked an amazing question about the sampler. So let me show the sampler and show you how to do exactly what you asked, Jane. When you use the sampler, and please do type any questions if more come up, because this is a great question. So she wants to know if I record my sound. So I'm going to hit record. When you first play, you'll have to give your computer access. So I'm going to hit record. Oh, I went too long. Oh, it's still going. Oh, I should remember. I can never do this live. Okay, I'll try again. Okay. Nice. And I can cut this down. I'm going to call this snap.
Wow.
And it saves and comes over here. And so now I have snap. I'm going to put it on the space key. So when I press space, it plays the snap sound. Now, if I recorded like 5 more sounds and I want to be able to save all my sounds, because Jane's right, if I hit refresh, they're all going to disappear. I actually click this little zip icon down here at the bottom, and that will download my sample pack. And then when I upload my sample pack, I would just click upload and go to downloads. And I'm going to upload the whole zip file. You can alternatively open each file, but that's just going to play snap back down on space. So now I can lose it. See, it's gone.
Yeah.
But when I click on the library and add, I can add my whole sample pack and
I know
snaps
that
right there.
you don't see the interface for calling. So since you're only sharing this one window, the open interface or file open interface doesn't work. So people aren't
Oh,
seeing it.
they
It's
couldn't
like if
see
you were
that.
opening a file and gives you
So
kind of your
sorry.
file system view.
Should I do
It's
it
okay.
again with the full share?
Nah, I think
Should've told
most
me.
people have opened a file before or you know.
All right, good.
So, Colleen, a question: will the download samples feature work on an iPad?
So I think on the iPad you can upload them, but you're not going to be able to record them. Because it's just an interfacing problem with the application. So you can still use the sounds, and I think you can add sounds, but you can't record sounds from an iPad. It has different permissions. It is not Flash. It was made with, I think it's made with JavaScript.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HTML and JavaScript. It's a true web app.
Yeah, but you can use it. You can still use it. That's the thing about the iPad, is the iPad doesn't usually want you to use things in the web. It wants you to use an app. So it's not an app for iPad. It's used through the browser on iPad. So yes, if they do it on their Chromebook, they can save the zip file to their Google Drive and share it with you later. And we did talk about the idea of sharing these as links, and that was an idea that we thought about doing, where you could share a link with all your sounds embedded, and we're still discussing whether or not we want to do that. That's kind of one of those privacy issues and things like that. All right.
We're always, Jill, we're always open to looking at different platforms and apps. iPhones and Apple products are always a little different, just because the level of development required for them is a little more in-depth and complicated, rather than just a web app. And so that's why we haven't explored that yet.
We talked about it. I think we thought it would be more important to share as a link than it would to share to make an iPad app. So if they want to find all the apps together, all our apps are located on our page, and Derek's actually making a new app page, but I'll show you where our current app page is. Oh my gosh. Sometimes when you do that, it's hard. So right now, when you go to resources, and all the way to the right is Makey apps, you can find all of our, what do you call them? They're not flagship, historical apps.
I call them our legacy apps. These are called our legacy and community apps.
Legacy and community apps. And we have a new app page coming. And until then, right now, you can come over to our blog and find all these new apps. I do believe you can, you can go to everyone here. So there's the piano app, and you can keep going. And there's my other new favorites, the counter app, because someone challenged me to make this exit ticket invention one day. And so there's 4 switches, and then you can add counters. But yeah, you can go right here to our blog and find those. And Derek said Friday he'll have that new app page up, right?
No, now there's pressure, right? Everybody's gonna be looking for it. Yeah. So the goal is that all of these will be up on our new apps page on Friday.
Yeah, and we could add them to our old apps, but we don't want you to get confused. So we're gonna make a new app page and still have a link to our old apps. Is there any other questions? Oh, and we should talk about Get Up and Go. Just a teaser.
So we're going to be doing a webinar for that kit as well. And that kit is themed. The theme for Get Up and Go is more physical activity type projects to go with Makey Makey. Things that get you up and going rather than sitting down and staring at a screen. So it's all about musical instruments, and so one of the projects is a floor piano. The guitar is one of them, using the hula hoop controller that Colleen was talking about. So it's all about getting to be a little bit more physically interactive with
the hula hoop. Yeah, and if you haven't played around on our webpage, we know there's a ton of information. You can always find things by clicking on the magnifying glass, and you'll find more information. But make sure you check out our blog. We post about other teachers, and I just wrote this post just this last week on Michael Bycraft and using really cool controllers, adaptive controllers that he works in Korea. And I love this crazy cool head tilt. It's a head tilt controller, Derek. Look at that.
Oh,
Can you tilt your head in place? So you'll be able to find our events page here too, and find out about our next workshop, and our next webinar will be October 14th, 20th. I think it's 20th. He doesn't know. We didn't write it down.
It's the 20th. You're
Okay.
correct. We didn't put it on any slide though.
You know what we were going to ask in chat was we were going to have people think about what they could make with conductive thread. Like if anything we showed them today gave them ideas of new projects that we could make. Oh, Derek, how reusable are these booster kits? It's a good question. How reusable?
There, some of the stuff is consumable, like the thread. Obviously, you only have so much, but the things that are consumable, we try to give you enough material that you can get through a class or two of students with it. I would say the majority of materials are reusable. Things like the things that are consumable tend to be the things that are pretty easy to find. So like tin foil, right? Aluminum foil we have at home. We have ours pre-cut, so it's easy to hand out and things like that. We give you a pretty good amount of it, so you can get through it, but then either go to dollar store or any place that you can get tin foil and grab more in a roll. But like I said, most of this stuff can be reused pretty easily.
Yeah, and I love the idea of using conductive thread, Jessica says, to make a real Technicolor dream coat. Like, I'm just imagining sewing conductive patches on a jacket, and it's projecting dreams, or I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I like the idea. And Dawn says that middle schoolers like to make jewelry. So I think there could be some really interesting ideas with jewelry. I actually made Makey Makey wind chimes with the conductive thread, and then the binder clips are like a weight at the bottom. That was another project I did. How many students could use one booster kit?
I would say if you were to do this as like a group project, so it's like, hey, come up with your own guitar, your own controller input. I would say three students per. It's kind of one. I would say one kit per Makey Makey. So however you manage your classroom in terms of one Makey Makey per 2 kids or 3 kids, I would match that with a booster kit as well.
I would say that the tape could be, if you were to cut it into different pieces, it could definitely serve more than one student.
Yeah.
Like the roll of tape. Anne is also telling us another conductive fabric idea, which is really funny. And I actually think our friend Bev did this with kindergartners once, but she said a plushy voodoo doll whose eyes light up when you stab it with a pin. I can just see you're like stabbing a little voodoo doll, and it's like,
I can.
That is a very October idea. It's true. I like it.
I could also see myself, because this is just what happened to me. I would stab myself through the doll, right?
Ouch.
You go to stab the doll and it just go through the doll into my hand. Because that's what would happen to me.
Oh, that's too much.
I send myself to urgent care quite often.
Well, as long as you've never drilled through a wall into your arm, then I think you're doing okay.
I've done that too.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. He did tell me that he has to get a tetanus shot like every year.
Yeah. Well, maybe not every year, but basically every time I go, they're like, hey, you need another boost. You need another tetanus shot. I'm like, okay. I don't remember the last time I had one, but okay. I just accept it whenever.
Shots. Yeah, you're like, okay, fine. Well, awesome. So thanks, Derek, for telling us more about the new booster kit, the craft and code, and our next Get Up and Go booster kit webinar will be, and I've got to remember the date. I think it's October 20th.
I think it's the 20th. If it's not the 20th, it's the 20th now. We've said it out loud. So it's going to be the 20th either way.
I actually have it right here in Zoom. And the answer is October 20th was correct. And the answer is, so that's good. All right, well, thank you. And let's end this by thinking about all our favorite October Makey Makey ideas. Let's flood the chat with October Makey Makey ideas. What can we do with Makey Makey for October that we haven't thought of yet? Ready?
Conductive.
Type it, type it, type it,
Oh.
type it, and go. Gotta hit enter. Conductive sausage. We were the only ones who played.
Oh.
And the voodoo doll. Oh, there they go. Candy quiz. Ooh, a favorite candy quiz with a counter app is perfect. Jill, I'm doing that. I'm gonna
Which
do that.
candies are conductive?
It doesn't. Oh, but she's just saying you could do it. But you could do it with the candy. That's a great idea. What candy's conductive, and they could touch it,
And
and
then
it would be zero. It would be zero on the Pez. 0, 0, 0. What did it count? I love that. Ooh, conductive bones are fun, and a conductive spider web. Now that we have the thread,
and you make
candy?
it so that the loser has to eat the candy after everybody's touched it.
So Jessica,
Yeah.
you should test out the candy corn. But I will tell you, yeah, fake candy is a great idea. But I actually like the idea of putting it into real candy too. It'd be fun,
So
but
if you're looking for alternatives for lighting up, how to light up a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern,
yeah,
those are a great way to do it if you're in a high fire danger area or just don't want a candle.
Oh, I actually put the LED throwy in my skeleton, so it looks like he has a heart. I put it in his rib cage. But I was going to say that candy corn, when you cut it in half, the inside of it's conductive. But the outside of the candy corn is like too dry, so it's not. Oh, I love it. Anne's going to make a giant foot piano that does the pipe organ sounds in a minor key. That would be so fun in your hallway for students to play. That was a good way to end. Good way to end our October webinar. So we'll see everyone.
In April, we need to do April Fool's Day with Makey Makey webinar.
We need to remember that because that would actually be really hilarious. All right, so everybody, will see you and your conductive bones and spider webs on October 20th. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, someone said thank you in the Q&A. I was worried I missed a Q&A. Thanks. Bye.
We got it covered. We're good.